play, getting to coach against the team, the program that you coached at, many years ago, but Kent State was a home for you.
Oh, absolutely. I have good memories of Kent State. Coach Pease was my head coach, who was a longtime NFL guy, and Kent, Ohio, great place, a great school, and I got to coach one of the all-times in Pittsburgh history, I would guess, and James Harrison. So he drove me crazy every day for as long as I was with him, but made a lot of plays.
How did he drive you crazy?
I'm sorry?
How did he drive you crazy?
I can't hear you.
How did he drive you crazy?
How did he drive me crazy? Sometimes he would just go make a play, not necessarily within the defense, and it would be one of those, oh, no, good play type things. But he was very productive, and he and I still have a very good relationship, although I wouldn't give him any tickets for the game Saturday. He had to go buy his own.
Did you instill the nastiness in him?
No, he had that in him, for sure. He as a redshirt freshman, I guess he would have been a sophomore, he looked the same as he does now. He's just probably a little stronger now, but he was fast and physical, and he had a mean streak in him for sure.
You've got 5 players listed as starters at defensive tackle. What can you say about the starting lineup?
Well, defensive tackle, every day is a new day, and we've told the guys from the start and through the whole season that the best guys that practice the best and make the most plays will be the guys that play, and we haven't solidified that as of today. We're still letting them compete, and it's a never-ending rotation until somebody stands out and takes it away.
Randy, you have a few freshmen who are in that mix there on the defensive line. Is that a product of just not having a lot of numbers on the D-line, or is there something kind of special about those guys?
Oh no, those guys are every bit ready to play. It's just at times when you're a freshman, it's like I just said with James Harrison. Sometimes it's, what are you doing? They're 17, 18-year-old guys and don't have as much experience in college football. So sometimes, it goes pretty fast for them. But as they continue to learn, they continue to get better. And as they get better, they'll have every opportunity to be the starter.
Randy, with some of those battles, do you need to see a lot of guys in game conditions as well? Just kind of.
Well, for sure. It's one thing to be in practice and scrimmages, but when the lights go on and the crowd's yelling at you, and it's a different world out there. So we'll see what they do between the lines on Saturday, and I think everybody will have a way clearer idea of who's going to be where.
Randy, do you feel like this is like the biggest influx of freshmen and sophomores that you guys have had into one defensive roster? I mean, you got Francis at tackle, Isaiah Neal, Braylon, Rasheem, a lot of the linebackers. Is this the most that you guys have kind of had going for you from those guys at that age in your time being here?
Well, it is, but we had 3 seniors who'd played a lot of football in front of them over the last couple of years. So some of these guys, have been around and have been out around the team that just haven't been starting. Then there's other guys who've just been here a couple months, and we recruited them to play, and if they're ready to play right now, God bless them, we'll play them.
You've always been an optimistic guy anyway. What makes you optimistic about this group of guys?
Well, I think this is a group of guys that will make plays. I believe that to my heart. I thought last year where there were times that we were in great position to make plays, did not make plays. And I think we're physical. We can stop the run, and we're going to stop the run and make people throw the football. And that's what I believe this group has got going for them.
What's different about this group of linebackers that you have as much new faces that started playing a lot this year?
Well, they're younger. They're wide-eyed, but I would say the thing that I'm most excited about is they make plays, like I just said with the D-line. I think it's one thing to be out there, but if you aren't making plays, it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're a fifth-year senior or a freshman. And regardless of the age of these guys, and they're going to make some mistakes, but at the end of the day, when they're around the ball, they're making plays, and that's the exciting thing about this group.
What's it been like going up against Kate Bell's offense? Kind of every day in practice, just the speed of it.
Well, it's an incredible challenge. I mean, makes me think of when we played Tennessee over the last few years. They get up, they go fast, they're efficient. They can run the ball well. They can throw the ball. And I think it's a great offense. He's got a lot of unique and outstanding techniques, concepts, and it's challenging. And it's really helped us as a defense because we've seen a lot of things that our kids have to adjust to that probably sometime during the 12-game season and beyond, we'll see. And so it'll make us better.
This is a young unit. You've obviously, in your career, coached young units before.
Sure.
What is the biggest problem you have had as guys who don't have a lot of experience?
Well, I think the big thing is trying to give them an idea of what's coming. Sometimes, they don't realize it until they actually have to get there. And we have some mature guys who I think are embracing it, even though they've never been there, some of our freshmen. But at the end of the day, until you've actually run out of the tunnel for the first time in Acrisure Stadium, it's a different world. So that's probably the big.
That talked to us about Francis and said that one of the things that Francis does very well is when you tell him to be somewhere, he's there.
Absolutely.
How many guys do you feel like that you have on this defense? Because that's something that you guys have talked about year after year. Play your role. Don't try to play here and do something else. Stick to what we're telling you. Do you feel like you guys have a good core of the younger guys who grasp that concept?
I think they're getting there. I don't think if you talk about a 17-year-old, regardless of a football player or anything, you're going to find inconsistencies. Why I took a job where, my life is dependent on 17 and 18-year-old guys being consistent is silly, right? But at the end of the day, the more consistent the kids are, the more they'll play, the better they'll play. And I think, they're getting it. But sometimes the inconsistencies aren't that they want to be wrong. It's just they haven't been there enough to do it. So, and sometimes that takes time and experience.
Is there anything that makes Francis special that he is so attentive to those things? Is it maybe the coaching that you think he got early on, or just how he just comes?
Well, he comes from a really good school in Columbus, Ohio, and they did a great job of coaching him. I think also he really pays attention to detail, and I think that's the thing that sometimes is lacking with younger guys especially.
Randy, when you have those 17 and 18-year-olds, what's the value been of a Brandon George? How has he been as a leader? Obviously, both in
For sure. I think Brandon can speak probably better than me because they will look at him as a guy who's been out there and in. Sometimes they look at me and adults in general and think we're all crazy sometimes until they actually get out and do it. Whereas Brendan can speak to them within the team and within the defensive unit. So having a guy like Brandon with all that experience and leadership is outstanding, and it really helps, I think, the younger guys.
Is it a similar effect having the three safeties you have as well?
Absolutely, especially for the younger corners, for the same reason. They're calming to the corners because they know the calls, they get it to them, and the kids can play. Whereas sometimes if they're questioning, by the time the corners find out what's going on, it's too late. So it does help a tremendous amount to have experience there. Up the middle, like in baseball, the more experience you got, the better you are.
What have you seen in Rashad's journey? He's a guy who's been through a lot of injuries. He's been on this team for quite some time, and now he's a starter quarterback for you. How have you seen him grow over the years?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Rashad Battle.
Yeah.
What have you seen on the
Well, with Rashad, to answer your question, I think Rashad's another guy he's been hurt a couple times. He's waited his time. He's worked his tail off to get back, and it's his time. And I think as I watch him play, he's a mature guy. He's not as experienced as Brandon George, but he's got the same number of years under his belt, and it makes a huge difference.
Speaking of the safeties, the veteran safeties, Donovan had something of a breakout year last year. What's your challenge to him? What does he need to do this year to take the next step?
Well, when you get to the point where he's had a breakout, it's more paying attention to minor details. You think Aaron Donald, how great he was. What do you ask him? How do you get better, Aaron? And it's centimeters, not millimeters, and things like that. And so in Donovan's case, he's got to break down the things he's not as good at, and they are obviously smaller, more minute things, steps, keys, than the big issues of understanding the defense.
What's the prep been like for Kent State? What are you guys focusing and dialing in on?
Well, you got a new offensive coordinator, and so you really don't know. So we're working a lot of the stuff from Charlotte. We're working the stuff from Kent last year, and we're ready for pretty much anything. We'll see what they decide to do, and I think the offensive coordinator is an outstanding coach. As I watch his career and I watch what they did last year, and I'm sure that they'll have a mix of things they did last year, Kent, and I'm sure they'll have a mix of things that they did, that he's bringing with him.
Where you fit Cruz into this defense, we've seen him just all the takeaway stickers in camp and the play that he showed in the spring in those practices. How do you get that guy on the field when you're so deep in safety?
Well, Cruz is one of our rolling starters. So he'll be out there a good bit. And again, the best guy's going to play. So, regardless of who's back there, if that guy goes back there and plays the best, they're going to play. And that's the way we play it.
A rolling story, you mean you can roll guys in and out of the game.
Absolutely.